water's edge. All my sins, they are forgiven. I'm not waiting till I'm dead to live in joy. Yeah, I'm gonna live in joy. Gonna live in joy, joy, joy. Gonna live in joy. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Earth below and sky above. I'm not waiting to get to heaven. Share my joy, oh, give my love, I'm gonna share my joy. Yeah, I'm gonna share my joy. Gonna share my joy, joy, joy. Gonna share my joy. It don't matter where I ramble. It don't matter where I roam. For this joy is always with me, and this love is my home. Oh, what joy! Oh, oh, what joy! Oh, what joy, joy, joy! Oh, what 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 joy! Oh, what
Connect to your heart center. Let life's energy flow within you. Familiarize yourself with your inner surroundings. It is springtime. The birds are chirping all around you. You smell the strong scent of the flowers blossoming. and all around you are large stretches of grass. It is vibrant and green in colour. And the lawns have been freshly cut. The warm rays of the sun kiss your face, warming it, making it golden. In front of you, you see a collection of flowers. All different kinds. They all belong to their unique, individual flower beds. And they're all gathered together, almost like families. You see a group of yellow daffodils, and then another group of pink tulips. And yet another group of magenta irises. The air is fresh and sweet, and you feel safe and secure in your life. You don't know where you're going, but you can trust it. Now draw in all of the earth's energies and integrate this meditation. Enjoy your day. Namaste.
Hello, Tours of Union. My name is Christine, and I'm so grateful to be delivering today's card reading to you. We will be using the Dragon Oracle cards by Diane Cooper. And the first card we got was the Emerald Dragon. It's beautiful. Nature, flowers. Brings in healing and cosmic abundance. Good fortune is coming. Let your thoughts support your divine perfection. Align with your fifth dimensional blueprint. I love this card so much. It feels very grounded, very much about focusing on our life purpose and aligning with our life purpose, because each one of us has unique talents and unique gifts we're meant to share with the world. So when we focus on giving this gift, then this is how good fortune is coming. This is how our abundance grows. And it feels very good to do that instead of just working a job you don't really like or just making ends meet, because this is not God's plan for us. God's plan for us is infinite joy and infinite abundance. And abundance is not just material, it's all about feeling abundant in love, in joy, in all those lovely experiences that you desire to have. So you're meant to have all of it. This is what this card is about. And I feel there's a huge emphasis this week on healing our material world, what feels bad about our abundance, maybe about being incarnated also. That could also block your abundance, because that way you're not able to give and receive the material, which in turn supports you to keep living your life purpose. I also love this part where it says to let your thoughts support your divine perfection. And I feel like this is a call to be very disciplined. As our prayer goes, my mind is my sanctuary, right? So making sure that your mind is a sanctuary for your divinity. Instead of feeding your mind thoughts of lack of faith, maybe hopelessness or lack of love, is that you can feed it with the opposite. Feed it with faith, with love, with abundance, prosperity, health, peace, all those loving thoughts, and you will see that your external reality is transforming to reflect those beliefs and thoughts. And another thing I love about this card is like the flowers, and it's a really good point, because whenever we think of abundance, the greatest way to experience it is being in nature, because nature is so abundant in everything, like in the oxygen we breathe, in the water we drink, in the flowers and the trees, and there's so much beauty and there's so much expansion in this beauty. So it's a great place to connect with when you desire to expand your abundance. Second card is the green dragon. Again, more nature, more green, lots of heart chakra colors. This one has a green bottom as well. So lots of focus on the heart. Helps you tune into the secrets of nature. Again, with nature. Receive answers and guidance from nature, align with your divine essence. Again, like this seems to emphasize the point about discovering who we are and aligning with this, with our true selves, not who we think we are. Because a lot of the times we've formulated a specific opinion of who we are, and this can be based on other people's perceptions, what others have said to us, so it's not always accurate. And when you don't view yourself accurately, then you don't really experience your life authentically. You experience, something that is not meant for you. So this week there is a call to release what is not aligned and to empty your cup, to really allow yourself to receive here insights of who you truly are, of your divinity. And yeah, the nature part, I don't feel it's just spending time in nature, literally, but also about focusing and tuning into your own nature as a divine being. What does that mean about you? Meditating on that and receiving insights and answers about that. And our final card is the orange gold dragon from Arcturus. This is the only card that isn't green, but again, there's more nature, like this beautiful night sky. Opens you to knowledge for the new golden age, carry the energy of the future and be a guiding light. So there's a very clear progression here, like you heal and receive your cosmic abundance, which supports you to heal even more and give even more. And then you tune in, you learn who you truly are, your true nature. And then that opens you up to knowing like what heaven on earth looks like and what you can do to help bring that on earth. And that's how you are a guiding light to other people, because you shine your light. And yeah, this dragon is holding this light over here and is attracting. He's inviting others to also shine their own lights, and that it's safe to do so because it's as natural as breathing. So that is a very beautiful card about really grounding heaven on earth again, and about not being afraid to be a pioneer here. not being afraid to shine your light, because when you do that, everyone benefits. So this was today's card reading. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday service.
Hello, I'm Laurențiu.
And I am Alexandra.
Welcome to today's Sunday service.
Yes, we are introducing today's Sunday service by Granville about limitations. And this is a really rich and powerful and filled with insights sermon. So I invite you to just sit down, relax, and allow yourself to receive the beautiful message that Granville has to share with us, because I feel like we're going on a crash course with Granville on limitations, actually. So
That's true.
it really does feel like that. I have really appreciated how in depth Granville went with this topic, not only in understanding and demonstrating how we do have the power to change and kind of like control our reality, but as well to see how we can take that power back if we do feel powerless by practicing the mirror exercise, and how actually the mirror exercise is like a really great tool to release and eliminate limitations from within ourselves. And Granville also shared about shared quotes from Yogananda, and when he shared his quotes, I really remembered about a little story that I wanted to share with you that's also from kind of like Yogananda's teachings. I don't remember exactly from which of her books it is, but I found it on the Ananda website, and I would really like to share it with you because it's really short, sweet, and I think it really encapsulates the limitations game and how to like overcome it in a very short and sweet way. So let's read.
Time to go in.
Yes. And the story is Mr. Roquefort cheese. For those of you who know it, I also share this story a lot with people that we talked about, like limitations in just day-to-day life. So from the Ananda website, I'm reading. Paramahansa Yogananda tells a charming story of his first encounter with Roquefort cheese when he came to the West in 1920. He describes how he was having dinner with friends and was offered Roquefort cheese. In his words, everything went well until the Roquefort cheese was served. In India, we only eat freshly made cheese, so I viewed the little green specks of mold in the cheese with great suspicion. My soul rebelled against it, and my brain cells warned me to have nothing to do with it. But as I looked at my fellow American friends eating the cheese, I mustered courage and took a lump of it into my mouth. No sooner had it landed there than all the aristocratic delicacies which had preceded it rebelled. There was great clamor and commotion within me, and they served notice of me that if Mr. Roquefort joined them, they would all leave the body. And I dared not open my mouth, but just nodded in answer to my host's questions whether I liked the cheese. Then, as I looked intently at the faces of my friends eating Roquefort cheese pleasantly, I suddenly made up my mind. Concentrating deeply, I told my brain cells, I am your boss. You are my servants. You shall obey me. This foolishness must stop. The next minute, I was enjoying Mr. Roquefort's company pleasantly, and now he always receives a warm welcome when he enters my hall of digestion. So that is the little story that I had to share. It remembered me perfectly about the topic of limitations and how to overcome them. And it's always a little funny story because it contains cheese.
And we all know Alexander loves cheese.
Yes. So I really love this story, and Granville will go in deep in explaining and pulling apart what happened in this story, actually, even if he doesn't know about this story. And
I mean, maybe he knows.
maybe he knows, but it's not like a reference in the sermon directly. He kind of pulls apart how you can learn from this story and what's the scientific meaning behind this story, and how you at home can start applying these principles of letting go of limitations and rebuilding your mind to become more powerful, to become more free in yourself.
Yeah, and actually, like, Alexandra helped me with something, and it's still food related that I wanted to share. And I actually, like, before being with Alexandra, didn't like peppers. And now this sounds silly, but I didn't like peppers. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But then actually Alexandra helped me to move through it and just get to a place where actually I liked peppers. And it was a bit of a similar process with this one. And actually I found it very funny, the story of Yogananda, because I was a bit like that. I was a bit like the same attitude that he had there. So like I found it really funny and correlating here.
Yeah, we relate with this because this principle, while we find it funny and kind of easy to digest when it comes to food, this principle you can apply in all areas of your life. And actually, Granville will walk you through how you can do this in all areas of your life, and we'll take a deep dive into this topic. So let's just hear what Granville has to teach us about limitations.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday service today. My name is Granville Campbell, and I will be your Church of Union minister for today. Let us begin with our 3 opening Oms. Please feel free to say them out loud or in your heart. Now please join me in our opening prayer. I am the only child of God, forever part of Him. I am created by Him in perfection, and there I always remain. My mind is my sanctuary where I keep His holy creation sacred. I will only allow in His voice. I will only accept His word. Today I will hear the word of God. I surrender myself to His teachings through His divine channel. I will honor what He has spoken and accept it as His will. I will be obedient to His word, for this is my salvation. In Christ's name, Amen. So for today, I'd like to share on the topic of letting go of limitations. And I'd like to delve into the topic from a slightly different and more scientific approach as we explore the neurology of limitations and the science behind rewiring your mind and the art of repetition in order to achieve that rewiring. So I'd like to start off with a question. And so, how much harder do you have to work when you feel like you can't actually do something? The effort there might seem a little bit more, and for no real or apparent reason. Also, maybe think about a time when you felt really tired, and told yourself that I just need a break. And then surprisingly, you suddenly and unexpectedly fall ill. And again, it might also seem that there's no real reason or no apparent reason for it. But the neurology behind it is that your mind listened to those words and said, just leave it with me. And the reason is that your mind believes everything that you tell it. And it doesn't discriminate. So it's actually quite epic in that way. So whether you're telling yourself, I can or I can't, your mind is going to believe it. It's kind of like the employee of the year, every year, year in and year out. It will do what you ask it to do. And so it becomes quite important to be clear about what you're telling yourself. Because as I said, your mind believes everything that you tell it. And it's really quite simple to test this theory for yourself. So I'd like to take you into an exercise so that you can get the sense of what I'm actually talking about. So I'd like you to just relax for a bit. And as you're relaxing, just start to think about how tired you really are. And really allow that feeling of tiredness to set in. And you can even go as far as imagining how lazy your limbs are, feeling the laziness in your limbs. And how you just actually feel like you really want to just lie down. And now I'd like you to just check in on your energy levels. And you'll probably feel a bit like you don't have much energy and you're feeling a little bit lethargic. And now I'd like you to do the opposite. So see yourself just really moving around your house really energetically. And feel how lively you actually feel. And how awake you actually feel. And how aware of everything you are around you. And how you're just breathing more freely and you're breathing well. And you just actually feel much, much lighter. And now I'd like you to check in on your energy levels. And you might find that you are breathing much more freely and your breath feels more crisp and refreshing. And you just feel a lot lighter and you just feel a lot more able to tackle things, to take on the day. And so if you just took those two components of that exercise, you might now realize and have a greater awareness of the power that you have to truly influence your physiology. Just from what you were allowing yourself to see or feel or even hear. And the reason for it is this. I was suggesting things that you might hear or see or feel. And you were accepting those suggestions. And instructing your mind to instruct your body to feel a certain way. And this is really what happens with limitations. You are in essence issuing instructions to your mind and your body through your feelings. And you're also creating the vibration that matches those feelings. And that's how you then respond to the world and the world responds to you. And this is because, as Jeff and Shaleia share in their meditation CD, imagination is energy. So in the components of the exercise, we created a picture, and our minds responded to that picture. And in turn, our bodies responded to that picture and gave us what we wanted, even without us telling our minds what to give us. Our minds just responded in that way. And we automatically matched the frequency of that vibration. So the vibration was a sense of tiredness, and we matched that vibration. And then the vibration was a sense of more liveliness and more energetic, and feeling more energetic, and we matched that vibration. And so it really matters what we are telling ourselves, because we create the feelings and the vibration associated with those words. And that is in turn what we will get. And that is why it is so important to be clear about what we want, and to let go of the feelings and the energy associated with the energy of limitations. And so I'd like to share a view from Yogananda about overcoming limitations, just to embed the message a little bit more and to solidify it more. And so from an autobiography of a yogi on pages 186 and 187, Yogananda shares the following wisdom from his guru, Sri Yukteswar. And in essence, what it says is, the deeper the self-realization of a man, the more he influences the whole universe by his subtle spiritual vibrations, and the less he himself is affected by the phenomenal flux. So it's basically saying that we really do have the power to respond to the world in a certain way because of our vibrations, and so we influence the world around us quite profoundly. But also because of our vibration, we are less susceptible to what is happening around us. And so he goes on to share in his writings that occasionally I told astrologers to select my worst periods according to planetary indications, and I would still accomplish whatever task I set for myself. It is true that my success at times has been accompanied by extraordinary difficulties, but my conviction has always been justified. Faith in divine protection and the right use of man's God-given will are forces more formidable than our influences flowing from the heavens. And in the sense, he's talking about the sense that we have about how the planets and our astrology influences. And he's saying just by his sheer conviction, he still accomplished his tasks regardless of the challenges. And so I feel like it's just, it's just, again, solidifies the message of how powerful your mind is and how you can accomplish what you need to do through exercising that determination. He goes on to say, the starry inscription at one's birth, I came to understand, is not that man is a puppet of his past. Its message is rather a prod to pride. The very heavens seek to arouse man's determination to be free of every limitation. God created each man as a soul, dowered with individuality, hence essential to the universal structure, whether in the temporary role of pillar or parasite. His freedom is final and immediate if he so wills. It depends not on outer, but inner victories. And so again, it just solidifies the message that we do have significant personal power. And so in that personal power, we significantly influence ourselves, and we significantly influence how we just physiologically react to things and interact with things. And I think that's really the message that I'd like to share in terms of just understanding the depth of a mindset that may be attached to limitations, and why it is so important to actually go deeply into your healing process to release those limitations, for the reason that we are meant to be free, and we are meant to be free of limitations. And so if our mindset is attached to limitations, we will probably only allow ourselves to go to a certain level or a certain extent in the things that we want to do. And that is why it's important to realize that we actually do have the power to shift those things. And so something that I came across in my studies in neuro-linguistic programming was the following phrase that says, neurons that fire together, wire together. And in just exploring it a little bit, is actually something that, a phrase that was coined by the neuropsychologist Donald Hebb in 1949, basically describing how pathways in the brain are formed and reinforced through repetition. And so what it means is that we can literally change, or what it highlights to us is that we can literally change any and every neural pathway that we choose to change. And we have quite a powerful tool at our disposal, which is the mirror exercise. And so it is a very powerful way of shifting our neurology and shifting those neural pathways as we get more practiced and more mastered at doing the mirror exercise. And so the sense that I have is that the mirror exercise will literally help us form or change our neural pathways, because we're literally teaching our mind and our body what it feels like to be truly loved, to have that true sense of loving. And it really is a way of conditioning ourselves to truly love ourselves. But that conditioning literally happens because we are allowing neurons to fire together in different ways. And as they fire together in different ways, they become connected and associated, and so they wire with each other. And it's literally like if you took an electrical connection and moved a wire from one part of a board to another part and connected it to another part. You're allowing the current to flow to a different place. And that is really what is happening with your neural pathways as well. It's literally a flow of current. And so you're shifting it into different to different neurons. And as they form that connection over time solidifies and embeds and shifts our physiology and our neurology. So it's literally a very scientific approach to our healing, is that we are shifting our mindset. We're shifting what our bodies feel about certain things. We're shifting how we respond to certain things as we heal through the mirror exercise. And in essence, what we're doing is that we're changing our physiology at a very fundamental level. So we are literally remaking our wiring, which is quite powerful and quite profound, that we have the power to do that through really following through on the mirror exercise and doing it well and doing all those steps. And there's a reason why every successful completion of the mirror exercise brings healing and relief, and why it is so important to be consistent in following through on every step of the mirror exercise. So as we release the upset through our healing, through bringing love to that place, we're shifting the emotional charge attached to a memory. And in shifting the emotional charge attached to a memory, we're shifting how we feel about something, and we're shifting how our bodies respond to certain feelings. We are literally remaking ourselves and our physiology, which is actually quite cool if you think about it. So we have significant power in this process, and we are literally processing in a very different, much more healthy way. And so there's a couple of things, well, quite a few things that are taking place as we become more and more familiar with the mirror exercise. And these things take place sequentially as well as simultaneously. So one of the things that are happening is that we are wiring in the steps of the mirror exercise. So tantamount to learning, we are moving from the space of unconscious competence, where we didn't really know it, to a space of unconscious. So we're moving from a space of unconscious incompetence to a space of unconscious competence. So the more we do it, the more it becomes standard, the more we are comfortable with the steps in sequence, because we're learning it, we're wiring it in, it's becoming a way of life. What we're also then doing is we are wiring in the effectiveness of the mirror exercise. So every completed mirror exercise brings that feeling of completion, that feeling of healing, that feeling of peace. And as we do that repetitively, we are wiring in the effectiveness of the mirror exercise. So we're learning effectively that the mirror exercise is effective. What we're also doing is wiring in the effectiveness of our healing and our ability to heal ourselves. So we're teaching our minds and our hearts and our bodies that we can heal ourselves, and that our healing is effective because we do find the relief, we do find the peace. The other thing that we're doing is we're starting to truly wire in the frequency of that vibration of love. Because as we apply love in that space, we start to see how love heals us. And we start to embed that frequency of love in our physiology. We're also wiring in what it actually feels like to be truly loved. So we heal the upset. We no longer have that sense of upset. And that love takes hold. And in that love taking hold, we are wiring in the feeling of truly feeling loved. What we're also doing is we are wiring in our physical and spiritual healing. So we're shifting potential places where we had one perception of a spiritual concept and realizing how that healing of that upset shifts our spiritual healing and our physical healing, because not only do we feel emotionally relieved, we actually feel physically relieved. So there's multiple things happening all at the same time, but they're also, in terms of the steps of the mirror exercises, happening sequentially. And as the healing sets in and the relief sets in and it comes to completion, it's also happening sequentially, but it's also happening simultaneously. So it's a quite profound and almost all-round healing process, and an all-round rewiring of our minds in terms of how we perceive the mirror exercise and our healing, which is why it becomes such a powerful tool when you now consider it in relation to rewiring your mind to let go of limitations. Because every time you find that space that has some level of limitation attached to it, you rewire that space through your healing to shift away from that sense of limitation. And over time, that sense of limitation diminishes significantly and will probably completely disappear at some point. But what we're doing is we're wiring in the steps of our healing. We're wiring in the power of our healing every time we do it. And so we diminish the hold and the what was almost the embedding of that mindset of limitation, and realizing that it's not necessary for it to be there. So it's quite scientific in how we approach it, and how that sequential healing and that sequential completion of the mirror exercise will allow the energy of limitations to diminish over time. And it probably quite profound in that we can progressively do this. And so we won't necessarily immediately release complete limitation, but it's possible. But also over time, because we are stacking up the healing, we are reinforcing the new connection all the time. We're reinforcing it as we do each mirror exercise completely and really complete it successfully. And so it does require practice, and it does require dedication. And literally, that is the sense of what needs to happen here, is that the practice leads to mastery. But the practice is really the art of repetition. So as we repeat the mirror exercise, we become more familiar with it. So we're really making what was unfamiliar familiar. So in the energy of releasing limitations, we are making limitations unfamiliar. And we are starting to make the sense of being unlimited or without limit familiar. And that's really our process of learning. Learning takes us through the cycle of making what was unfamiliar familiar. And in that way, we are letting go of a limitation in our knowledge. But not only letting go of a limitation in our knowledge, we're also letting go of the depth and breadth of what upsets are, or how they show up for us. So we're really solidifying our healing. We are moving from a space of unconscious incompetence, not knowing what we didn't know, to a space of unconscious competence through a process of learning, to the point where we can do something without really giving it any thoughts. It almost becomes quite automatic. But the caveat is that it requires repetition, and that it requires consistency. Because in essence, we're creating a new habit or a new practice. And that practice takes time to embed. It takes time to become a new way of being, or a new way of doing things. And so even in letting go of limitations, it requires the practice of healing and releasing the mindset of lack and of scarcity or of not enough-ness. So it plays out in so many little instances, but when the healing stacks up, we kind of get the sense of releasing that energy of limitation. And the mirror exercise is really that powerful tool that we have that allows us to do that at a very fundamental level. It allows us to do it at a very foundational level. So we're relaying the foundation of a neurology of who we are, of how we operate, of how we perceive things, of how we interact with things and life and people. It creates quite a significant shift. And the idea is to maybe just take a step back and look at the extent of healing and how far you've come, to realize the profound power of the mirror exercise, and to realize how much of the healing that you've done has been attached to releasing or letting go of that perception of limitation. And so I feel like it requires a lot of exploration. Like, it's safe to explore those places where that mindset of lack or scarcity may have embedded itself in our consciousness, and to really just be deliberate about uprooting it, and also to be relentless in approaching our healing in a very consistent and persistent way. So it does fall to us to kind of be persistent, to keep going, to realize that all of those components of healing are actually feeding into truly releasing the energy of limitation in various areas of our lives and in various ways, and how all those little upsets, in a sense, actually contribute to the energy of limitation, and why it's so important to heal those upsets. Because as we heal them, we allow for that energy of limitation to be uprooted, one successful mirror exercise at a time. And so, yeah, my invitation is just to allow that to sink in, and to allow that to just give you pause, to also celebrate how far you have come and how much your healing has actually achieved. And so I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And in conclusion, please join me in our closing prayer. Father, I accept your word into my heart. I will honor your will in my life and will follow you without hesitation anywhere you ask. I know you guide me into your heart where I belong. I accept that you are everywhere and your teaching is in all things. God, I know you provide me with clarity in this teaching of union, that I may be forever in union with you. I accept that you are in me as you are in my brother. I will not deny my brother your word, and will share your teaching with him in any way you ask, and only as you ask. For when I share my salvation with him, I fully claim my salvation and return to you with him. In Christ's name, Amen. Speaking this prayer in your heart means that you have accepted that you are on the path of awakening to your true divine nature. This is what it means to be a unionist. Follow the teachings of union with God wherever you find them, and purify your consciousness into perfect union with your Creator. And now for our 3 closing alms. Please feel free to say them out loud or in your heart. Once again, thank you everybody for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the sermon as much as we did.
It was really a crash course in limitations and how to like overcome them, and I really like loved it. And I just wanted to share with you some major points that really struck out to me from the whole sermon. And the first point that really touched my heart and was like, yes, I resonate with this deeply, and I just to kind of deepen in this area was about how what you can hear or what you receive from outside can influence you if you let it, right? So how we went on this journey with Granville telling us to feel tired and sleepy, and maybe some of us felt that way. I felt a little bit like I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, but I could feel how, you know, if I were to kind of not have like maybe boundaries, I would like definitely let myself, you know, get swept away by his charming voice. And and I was just thinking about what kind of materials and what kind of vibrations we're being surrounded with, and how those affect, you know, our consciousness, because we just receive them, right? And we can like build, you know, I think like we can build those like boundaries within ourselves to like say no to certain aspects. But I think like, you know, by default we're really just like open to receiving, and that was just like very eye-opening to me. And I really embraced going deeper into this aspect to really refine my, you know, vibration and what I choose to receive from, you know, outside of myself, and how I let it influence me. And because everything is so interconnected, I found it funny that if something outside of you can like influence you like that, not like influence you, but you know, can have like an impact on you. I was thinking, well, we're interconnected, so therefore how powerful actually it is you making a loving choice and you choosing love, and you being like a beacon of light in this world right now, in, you know, healing yourself and going on to the ascension journey and practicing love within yourself. And how important that is for the world. I never saw that, you know, if you just take and reverse this concept, it would be like, oh my god, like I'm having such a huge impact by just doing the mirror exercise once. Just doing the mirror exercise once has such a deep effect on us, and therefore it has such a deep effect on the whole world, because we are as one. So I really kind of, that struck with me, and I was like, oh yeah, I feel that, because I'm always so kind of blessed and humbled in this community whenever somebody is sharing about their experience, or we're talking about what we're going through, and it's always kind of very, very similar because of this, like we're one. And I really felt that on a much deeper level through exploring limitations and letting them go. And another thing that also stuck out for me in this sermon was really about practicing the mirror exercise and allowing yourself to get into that space where you're kind of good at it, right? And it becomes kind of second nature. I really love that, because it's I feel like for me, you know, doing the mirror exercise and studying the teachings of union is kind of like a way of being. It's a lifestyle choice, right? So therefore it is kind of like mandatory to like allow yourself to move to this process where you become better and better on it. You might start in a certain place, wherever that place is, and that's okay. And as you continue practicing, you're going to become better and better at it.
Yeah, and it's gonna become very normal, and it's gonna become like your natural thing to do. It actually wouldn't be natural to not do it. And this is how it is right now, at least for us. Like it's very natural, normal to always like do the inner work. The first thing when we feel upset, go and love ourselves.
Yeah.
Like move through that process.
Yeah, and we're still deepening in that in that place as well. We're allowing ourselves to go deeper with our inner work all the time. Yeah. And with this, also something that struck out to me was about building the unconscious awareness. I think that's how he said, when it becomes second nature, for example, for you to have the good pattern within yourself, like doing the mirror exercise. And I feel like it's such a natural thing to think about, and it's kind of funny how we don't associate this ideology with your mind, and how you can change your mind and heal yourself, because this is actually what we're going through, for example, with our body when we exercise. At first, maybe it's not as intuitive to ride the bike, for example, right? But as we practice, it becomes more intuitive, and already you're not thinking about, oh, I have to balance in this way and push this hard or turn this way for me to go to the destination. It becomes second nature. So I really love that he touched upon this like deeply, and allowed ourselves to like again just ground into this awareness, and take this awareness and apply it in this area of limitations and breaking free from limitations.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If you enjoyed our sermon, we invite you to check unionism.org, where you can find all of our previous sermons, card readings, meditations, music, everything you can find on the unionism.org website. There also you can donate or start tithing to the Church of Union. If you really love and resonate with the message of unionism, your donations and tithings are really valued and appreciated, because they help us spread this message further away in the universe. Also, we invite you to discuss and connect with our community right after this service is over in the Facebook group Unionist Spiritual Discussion, where we have the after church tea time, where we discuss and delve deeper with members from our community about the topic of today's Sunday service. Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful week, and we will see each other soon. Thank you.